Hi everyone, today we're going to start chapter 4, which is multiplying decimals. So we're going to start with lesson 4.1. It is on page 233. So it says multiplication patterns with decimals, and basically what we're going to do is multiply by powers of 10 that are either increasing or decreasing. And it'll be very similar to what we did with whole numbers. With whole numbers, we would add or take away zeros. This time, we're just going to move our decimals to the right or the left. So let's look at the first problem. It says, Cindy is combining equal size rectangles from different fabric patterns to make a postage stamp quilt. Each rectangle has an area of 75 hundredths of a square inch. If she uses 1,000 rectangles to make the quilt, what will be the area of the quilt? Use the pattern to find the product. So if you look, they set up a pattern from 1, 10, 100 into 1,000, which is increasing. And what you're going to do is you're going to take 75 hundredths and multiply them by each power of 10. And when you do that, to get your answer, all you'll have to do is move your decimal point one, or however many zeros there are, to the right. So if you look here, 1 times 75 hundredths, well, 1 times anything is itself. So we have the same answer there. Now the next one, we have 10 times 75 hundredths. 10 has 1 0. That means we're going to move our decimal place 1 place to the right, and now we get an answer of 7.5. Next is 100 times 75 hundredths. This time we have 2 zeros, so we're going to move our decimal 2 places, 1, 2, and get an answer of 75. And then for 1,000, which is the answer we're looking for, it has 3 zeros, so we're going to move it 1, 2, 3 places to the right. This time we'd have to put in up a 0 here because there's nothing there. So we're going to get a total answer of 750 square inches. Now below that it says, as you multiply by increasing powers of 10, and this is that key part that we need to know, increasing powers, you're going to move your decimal point to the right. So when it's increasing, we go to the right. Now let's look at this next problem, example number 1. We're going to look at what happens when we have decreasing powers of 10. George is making a scale model of the Willis Tower in Chicago for a theater set. The height of the tower is 1,353 feet. The model is 1/100th of the actual size of the building. How tall is the model? So as you can see, they set up a pattern just like they did above, but this time instead of having increasing numbers, they're going down, they're decreasing. So it goes from 1 to 1/10 to 1/100th. So remember, this is the same as 1/10 and 1/100. And remember, this time we're moving to the left. So 1 times anything we know stays the same. Now I'm going to multiply it by 1/10, and it has 1 0 or 1 place after the decimal. So we're going to move our decimal, which remember on a whole number is at the very end here. We're going to move it 1 place to the left. So that's why we get 135.3. Now for 1/100th, we have 2 places after the 0 or 2 zeros. And now we're going to move it 2 places to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2 for an answer of 13 53 So down below, for a decreasing power, we are going to move to the left. So those are the 2 things you really need to remember. Increasing, I go to the right. Decreasing, I go to the left. Let's go ahead and flip on over to the next page on page 234. And we're going to look at example number 2. It says, 3 friends are selling items at an art and craft fair. Josie makes $45.75 selling jewelry. Mark makes 100 times as much as Josie, selling his custom furniture. And Carlos makes a 1/10 of what Mark makes. Wow, there's a lot going on in this problem. How much money does each friend make? So the first thing we want to do is set up what we have. And we already know that Josie made $45.75. Easy enough. Then we move on to Mark. And Mark, we know, made 100 times as much as Josie. So that's why we have Josie's amount here, but we need to go ahead and multiply that by 100 to be able to find out what Mark actually made. So they set up the pattern below here. We know that 1 times anything, it stays the same, so we keep the same number here. All right, times 10, that means it's increasing, so I'm going to go to the right 1 place because I have 1 0. So $457.5, which in money, we always want 2 places after the decimal like that. And then times 100, that's 2 places, so 1, 2, and that would be $4,575. So Mark makes a total of $4,575, which is exactly 100 times more than Josie. But we're not quite done yet because now we have to do Carlos. And we know that Carlos only makes 1/10 of what Mark makes. And so we put Mark's amount over here. So they have it, the pattern kind of set up for us. We know it starts with 1 times 4,575. Nothing changes there. Then the next thing would be is 1/10 or 0.1 like that times 4,575. And remember, because this is decreasing, we're going to actually move to the left now. So we're going to go from here to here. So Carlos is going to bring home $457.50. You have a problem on your homework like this for tonight. It's number 11, so make sure you pay attention to this and take good notes because you'll need this to help you through with number 11. So you had to find 2 different amounts for this one. All right, let's look at problems A and B. So this one is powers of 10, and it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3. So that tells me that this is definitely increasing. And when my powers of 10 are increasing, I move my decimal point to the right. Okay. So remember, if it is to the 0 power, that's the same as 1. To the power of 1 is 10. To the power of 2 is 100. And to the power of 3 is 1,000. So if I multiply by 1, we know nothing changes, so that goes here. If I have a 10, I'm going to move 1 place to the right, and that would become 47.8. 100, which is 2 places, it's going to go 1, 2, 478. And 1,000, which is 3 places, 1, 2, 3. So this time we have to add a 0. Okay, easy enough. The next one, I have 1/10 and 100th. So we know that this one is decreasing. And I'm going to be moving to the left. So anything times 1 is 30 is itself, so we got that. So this is the same as 1/10 and 1/100th. And I'm going to move one place over, so that's 3.8. And then 2 places over, that would be 0.38. So not too bad. Once you realize what's increasing and decreasing, it's just knowing where to move. Let's look at 2 more problems before I leave you for your homework. We're going to look at 3 and 4. And if I'm looking, I have powers of 10. And they appear to be increasing, right? So we know that this is increasing. So I am going to be moving my decimal to the right. So this is the same as multiplying by 1, 10, 100, 1,000. So I don't move at all for the first one, remember? The second one, I'm going to move one place. So that's 456. Next, I have 2 in my exponent, so that goes 1, 2. Add that 0. And then 1, 2, 3. This time I have to add 2 zeros. Okay. Next, it is definitely decreasing. So that means we move to the left. First one doesn't change at all. Next is like a 10th and the 100th. So I move one place over and I get 639 and 1/10. And then 2 places over is 63 and 91/100. That's it. So when you have a decimal or a fraction, you're going to go to the left. When you have a power of 10 with an exponent or just a power of 10 that it's going up, which is increasing, you're going to move to your right. So for homework tonight on page 237, you have 2 through 11 all, unless you're in the blue group. If you're in the blue group, then you are going to do the problems that are circled. So you're only going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Make sure you show your work. Make sure you remember to turn it in. It's in Google Classroom under Chapter 4. It's called Lesson 4.1. Remember, I don't want all the pages that come before this. I only want page 237 and work turned in.